Mon nom est Annabelle Duchesne, je suis responsable des communications pour Airbus au Canada et je serai votre maîtresse de cérémonie aujourd'hui. My name is Annabelle Duchesne. I'm Director Communications for Airbus in Canada and I will be your MC today. Puisque notre client, AirAsia, est parmi nous aujourd'hui, nous allons tenir la majorité de la conférence de presse en anglais, entrecoupée évidemment de quelques allocutions en français. Nous vous remercions d'avance pour votre compréhension. As the event is being held in Québec and includes many French-speaking A220 colleagues, part of the program will be delivered in French. However, to ensure that all our guests, including those joining us internationally, who may not speak French, can fully follow the discussions, most of the program will be conducted in English. Thank you for your understanding. Please note that this event is being live-streamed locally for our 4,000 A220 colleagues and internationally for the media. Veuillez noter que cet événement est retransmis en direct localement à nos 4000 collègues à 220 et à des médias internationaux. In the next minutes, we will have important speakers coming on stage to address a few words, which will be followed by a signature ceremony and a short question and answer session. I would now like to acknowledge the presence in the room today of Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney, Minister of Industry Canada, Mélanie Joly, la Première ministre du Québec, Premier of Québec, Christine Fréchette, le ministre de l'Économie, de l'Innovation et de l'Énergie du Québec, Bernard Drainville, Minister of Economy, Innovation and Energy of Québec. Ainsi que des invités distingués, membres du Parlement, as well as distinguished guests and members of Parliament. I would also like to acknowledge the presence of Mr. Tony Fernandes, CEO, Capital 8 and advisor to AirAsia Group, who has traveled a long way to join us today in Mirabel. And of course, as well as some members of the AirAsia team. Finally, we also have the honor of having the presence of Lars Wagner, CEO Commercial Aircraft at Airbus. Thank you everyone for being with us today in Mirabel for this very special occasion. Merci d'avoir pu nous rejoindre ici à Mirabel aujourd'hui pour cette occasion très spéciale. Sans plus tarder, j'aimerais accueillir Lars Wagner, PDG pour les avions commerciaux d'Airbus. I would now like to invite Lars Wagner, CEO Commercial Aircraft at Airbus, to come to the stage.
Well, what a special day. Prime Minister Carney, Premier Fréchette, dear Tony, dear colleagues, distinguished guests, chers collègues, distingués invités. Merci de vous joindre à nous à Mirabel. Thank you for joining us in Mirabel. Tony, it's been a long way from Kuala Lumpur, but obviously today there's no better place than being here in Mirabel, the birthplace of the A220. We're here all together today as the 220 marks a major milestone in the existing of the program. I'm very happy to announce today that AirAsia is ordering 150 A220s for its major fleet renewal. Woo! With that announcement today, AirAsia will also become the launch customer of this new configuration that carries up to 160 passengers. Thank you. We have, Tony, with that order, we have now surpassed 1,100 orders, and that's a great milestone for the program almost 10 years after its existence. Prime Minister Carney, Premier Frechette, and ministers, your presence today underscores that aerospace isn't just about planes. It's about jobs, it's about global trade, it's about reinforcing the Canadian and the Quebec economies and the unique aviation competencies. Par votre présence aujourd'hui, vous prouvez que l'aviation, c'est bien plus que des avions. Ce sont des femmes et des hommes, des compétences clés et une passerelle vers les marchés mondiaux. Nous sommes ici pour soutenir la croissance économique et l'expertise aérospatiale unique du Canada et de nos régions. Government support is a backbone of the innovation we see in this hangar, and we don't take this for granted. There's a specific energy here in Quebec, and I see that today in reality, that mix of innovation and determination, and that matches the AirAsia spirit. AirAsia, actually, Tony, you changed the world of flying when you entered the A220 in the Asian market, and now you're going to do it again with the A220. Once again, this Airbus, small plane, this Airbus game-changing aircraft will allow you to connect cities that haven't been connected so far yet. And the A220, as everyone I'm sure in this room knows, is the only clean sheet design in its class, and that is shown by the numbers, minus 25% of fuel burn reduction, and with that CO2 reduction, that is so important in today's environment. Thank you. And let's talk about the passengers. For the passengers, the experience is unbeatable. And I'm flying with that aircraft a lot already in Europe. It's a small, single aisle with a wide body feel. What's so special about it? It's wider seats, huge windows with natural light, and increased overhead space. It's really a lot of space in the cabin. And with that, you're redefining your guest journeys into a true alleviated experience. In other words, the 220 is a dream for low-cost carriers. It's quiet, it's efficient, and it's designed for faster boarding, for longer routes, and less time in hangars. So it doesn't just fly, it really performs. Dear Tony, at Airbus, we thank you a lot for your trust, and we don't take that for granted. This year actually marks the 25th year of AirAsia operations. And kudos to you, Tony, and kudos to your all-star team behind that. That's a remarkable success. This order is a massive vote of confidence in this facility and in the people of Mirabel, of Quebec, and of Canada, and actually every aircraft Tony will receive that comes out of the Mirabel facilities. It demonstrates as well that it was right for us to bring the A220 under the wings of the full Airbus portfolio. Let's go and build these planes from this hangar and get them into your fleet as soon as possible. Let me end with saying, in my words, today is a win-win-win-win day. A win, obviously, for Asia. Tony, you're getting the plane, a very nice plane, as soon as possible. A win as well for Canada and Quebec. It's a massive step towards your competencies and capabilities in this region. It's a win for all of us, for you, the colleagues here in Mirabel, as this is a secured employment for the years to come. And it's also a win for Airbus, that it brings us closer to our growth trajectory, and we might even do more with that fantastic platform. So with that, merci à chacun pour votre présence aujourd'hui pour annoncer ensemble cette commande unique. Thank you all for your presence today to celebrate together this unique order announcement. Thank you.
Merci, Lars. Thank you, Lars. I will now ask Mr. Tony Fernandes, CEO Capital A, Advisor AirAsia Group, to come to the stage. Thank you.
Prime Minister, this is something new for me. I have been given 5 minutes to speak, which is really not something I'm good at doing. But like AirAsia, I will be on time. Especially with the 220. Right Honourable Mark Carney, Prime Minister of Canada, the Honourable Christine Fachette, Premier of Quebec, the Honourable Melanie Joly, Minister of Industry and Minister responsible for Canada Economic Development for Quebec regions, Mr. Bernard Ranville, Minister for Ministry of Economy, Innovation, Energy, Quebec, Mr. Lars Wagner, Mr. Guillaume Cheverson, both from Airbus, representatives of the Canadian federal and Quebec government, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and most important, staff of of Airbus Canada. I'm getting ready to take over. Sorry, that was already 1 minute, by the way, the salutations. Pardon, but l'attention reçue au Québec de l'immigration à Airbus Canada. Fait grandir mon amour pour cette grande province et ses pays. Merci du fond de mon cœur. Bonjour and good afternoon. My love for Canada started about 30 years ago when I was in the music business. David Foster was a great friend of mine and still is. And I signed a band, showing my age now, Bare Naked Ladies. And of course, I re-signed Joni Mitchell, my dear friend and an icon of Canadian music. And in 2017, when I first came to Montreal, I owned a Formula One team, one of the crazier things I did in my life. I've never been to a Formula One race ever again, because every time I see the car going around, I think of all the money I lost in that period. But you only live once, so I did it. We had a fantastic partnership before this wonderful relationship here. Our first relationship with a Canadian company was CAE, where we established a joint venture to train our pilots and engineers. And that partnership still exists. And Mark Parent was very much a family member of AirAsia. But then I came to see one of Canada's great entrepreneurs, Pierre Baudouin, who had the dream to build the C-Series, which is now the 220. And I would be remiss not to remember him, because it takes entrepreneurs with guts to go and do crazy things. And I don't want to forget him, and I told him, you know, the first plane, because he, for many times, kept asking me to buy the C-Series, and I said, I need you to make it a little bit longer. And unfortunately it didn't, but Airbus did, and hence we're buying it. And so, thank you, Pierre. I hope you hear this somewhere. And thank you for making this dream come true as well. We're going to name our first plane after him for his efforts in bringing this plane. You know, I have a funny story. After I visited this place in 2017, Prime Minister, about 1 week later, Airbus came to see me. The guys here, Jerome, to tell me what a terrible plane it was and that I should not buy it, all the reasons why I shouldn't buy it. They should buy the 220, the 320, the C-Series was a terrible aircraft. 6 months later, and I still have the presentation, when Airbus took over this program, the same man, Jerome, came to see me and brought me another presentation to say this is the greatest aircraft Airbus have ever made. Jerome, where are you? This is Jerome, who told me it was a lousy plane, then said it was the greatest plane. But from the moment, actually, when I flew it in 2017, Montreal is a fantastic city, and I had been drinking all night, and I turned up in Mirabel with a massive hangover, and really the last thing I wanted to do was a test flight. But I was blown away by what an incredible aircraft it was, even in 2017, and the only reason we didn't buy it at that point was we just wanted it to be a little bit longer, and now you've done it. So the 220 is not just an aeroplane, it's a symbol of Canadian perseverance and innovation. And I thank Pierre, and I thank all of you for all the efforts you've put in making this new aircraft, which is 160 seats. And we hope, you know, we look at Guillaume and we look at Lars. Guillaume represents 160 seats, but we really hope that you will build the Lars version, which is the 220-500, which is 185 seats. That's the aircraft we really want. So Lars, you know, get a move on. We do want that aircraft. And we have committed, if they build that aircraft, so you can put them all under pressure today, if they build that aircraft, AirAsia will buy another 150 of these aircraft as well. No pressure, Lars, no pressure. You know, at the press conference in 2017, I said, you know, when they asked me, how will this relationship with Canada go? I said, well, we've just started this romance. Let's see where it goes. And today I can say we really are married. We really are together now. I really wanted to announce the deal here in Canada, Quebec, and Mirabel for two reasons. One, because I think it's very, very important, and I was thrilled just now to meet so many of you on the shop floor. It's the 4,000 workers here in Mirabel that we appreciate all your hard work, and we want you to think of AirAsia as part of your family as well. We want to thank all of you, not just the bosses, but all the 4,000 people who allowed us to dream and live our tagline, now everyone can fly. This 150 order allows us to continue to dream and make the world smaller. Thank you very much, all the staff at Mirabel and Airbus Canada. This order is a vote of confidence to all of you, of all your hard work, diligence, passion, and heart. You're not just assembling fuselages, but you're building the future of global travel for the common man. Because of you, Canada is the heartbeat of the aerospace world. Merci beaucoup, everyone at Airbus Canada. And secondly, you can clap. And secondly, because of the amazing leader that's standing in front of me, Prime Minister Mark Carney. At Davos, you blew away all of us in Asia, and no one represents the values of AirAsia more than you. We're an airline that delivers what you know, market society. 21,000 employees, no unions, the first airline in Asia that had female pilots, and staff who at one point carried bags, who are now captains, telephone operators who are now CEO. We built a culture that even though you didn't go to the best universities, if you wanted to be the best, we allowed you to be the best. Some people have money, so they can go to have better education, but a lot of people in my part of the world missed out. And so we wanted to create a level playing field that everyone could achieve and dream and be the best. We also believe in a society that values integrity, resilience, solidarity, and sustainability. My whole life, I've been shouting out for middle powers to stand up and be counted. And now we have a leader in middle power. Thank you, Prime Minister Carney. He didn't pay me for this. You know, I don't generally like bankers, but he's the first banker I've liked. Especially from Goldman Sachs. I'm a huge believer in ASEAN, sir, which can be a huge middle power. And I keep telling my 10 prime ministers that they should be working closer and closer together, and that working together is only going to benefit the people of ASEAN. And today, this deal brings two great middle powers together, ASEAN and Canada. This is a $19 billion deal, which can grow to $38 billion if we have the last version, showing what Canada and ASEAN middle powers can do. I must also thank Lars. Welcome to this job. As Minister Jolie said, it's all happened since you've come. So make sure Guillaume gives you a good bonus. You'll do an amazing job at Airbus. Your humility is amazing. Your approachability and the fact that you want to get things done is a breath of fresh air to all of us in the airline business. And in their absence, Chris, Anand, and Benoit, who have worked incredibly hard. This deal took about 1 year to put together, and Airbus really, really worked hard. And of course, my dear friend Jerome, who continues to lie to me for the past 20-odd years. But he's a good cook. We've now bought 800 planes from you, Airbus, and you've been a wonderful partner. And everyone should know, it's easy to be a great partner when things are going well. But we've been through many, many crises, COVID, now this present crisis. I've had everything thrown at me, but we're a very resilient lot. And because we have great partners, we always find a way through. Thank you also to Rick and Martha in her absence. I've bought 1,600 engines from General Electric. This is a new feeling for me, buying a Pratt engine. Rick, you're a fantastic guy. You never stop smiling, even when I ask you for yet another discount. So thank you for that. I think we'll make Pratt proud of how we use this engine. Thanks for all your efforts in that. I also should mention that this was a competition between another company, Embraer, who also did a fantastic job. And it was very tough choosing. And I want to thank Francisco, who's the CEO, who also put in a lot of effort. You know, 25 years ago, I had a dream. I was in the music business. I was signing artists. I was dealing with Madonna, Bare Naked Ladies, Rush. And I got tired of Americans telling me what to do, which probably echoes with some of you now. So in Rockefeller Plaza, I resigned and flew to London and sat in a bar thinking, what am I going to do for the rest of my life? And I saw a guy called Stelios who owned an airline called EasyJet. And I thought, what a great idea. And I took a bus to Luton Airport and saw people flying to Barcelona for £6, Paris for £8. And I thought, this is what I'm going to do. I always say in my speeches, there's a very fine line between brilliance and stupidity. But I was only 36, and I thought if I failed, I could become a politician. Please let me out of Canada, by the way. I bought AirAsia for 25 cents. 2 planes, 200 staff. Today, despite all the crisis, we've carried 1 billion people, the fourth largest airline in Asia, and have 250 planes, with another 550 to come now with this order. We've been through many crises. You know, people will be wondering, why are we buying so many planes during this latest crisis. But crises are an opportunity to make bold decisions and to go out there and be aggressive. And wars will not go on forever. I mean, this is a crazy war that should never have happened, but it is what it is. But we're not going to slow down, and we think ahead, we look at the future. And this 220 will really, really take us to another level. You know, I look at Southeast Asia. When I looked at Southeast Asia all those years ago, I believe the skies belong to everyone. Prime Minister Carney, you look at Canada and believe that opportunities must belong to everyone as well. Today, our shared vision of accessibility and ambition at the tarmac at Mirabel, Quebec, they finally meet. Crises are opportunities. To everyone, thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for your warm welcome. Thank you, Prime Minister Carney, for gracing us despite your busy schedule. For all the wonderful politicians there in front of me, please give Lars more pressure to make the other 150 planes. But I say, you're looking at a dream. We were a dream to try and make flying affordable for Asians. Only 6% of Malaysians flew before AirAsia came. Today, 86% of Malaysians fly. And so, but the best part is creating jobs, and I hope in our small way, we will create many more jobs in Quebec and Mirabel and Canada. You have a wonderful country, you have a wonderful people. I always say to my staff, believe the unbelievable. It's okay to believe that the unbelievable. We are unbelievable. No one would have believed someone who signed the Bare Naked Ladies would buy 150 A220s. And dare to dream. It's okay to dream. From some dreams come some amazing things. And never take no for an answer when Airbus says they can't do it. Thank you very much. J'adore Canada. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Fernandes. J'inviterai maintenant notre Premier ministre du Canada, our Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney, à monter sur la scène to come to the stage. Merci.
Hello. Tony, that was the best 5 minutes I've ever had. That's amazing. Quel plaisir, quel honneur, quel plaisir d'être ici à Mirabel avec vous, Madame la Première ministre du Québec, le maire-reste terrien, la ministre de l'Industrie, Monsieur le ministre de Ranville, mes collègues parlementaires, les membres de l'Assemblée nationale et les innovateurs, les travailleurs et travailleuses d'Airbus ici. C'est incroyable. It's so good to be here. It's so much fun. And I only have 5 minutes. No, I have a little more, but I want to provide a bit of context because I'm going to pick up on a few things that Tony said much better than me because he's lived it. But we're here today because of the combined power of entrepreneurs, of builders, and yes, of governments. Governments that have fallen on the brilliant side of that line between brilliance and stupidity, I'd like to think. The power that's building a stronger, more resilient, more independent Canada. A power that's deepening the links between Canada and ASEAN. Very important point, deepening the links between Canada and ASEAN to the benefit of our workers, our families, our tourists, our business people. And the very first link in that chain is the entrepreneur, the risk taker, the builder. And so let me salute Tony Fernandes, who is an entrepreneur extraordinaire, who took the risk, took a series of risks, and that's why we're all gathered today for a brighter future. And Tony and I have known each other for a bit, but when we last saw each other was in October in Kuala Lumpur for ASEAN. And we were discussing the various crises that we'd been through in the past, financial crises, COVID. And we discussed how best to respond to a world that's changing even more dramatically in many respects than then. And we shared a vision of deepening ties between those countries that in this crisis that we're still living through are choosing to build in the face of adversity. Countries that have the confidence to open up, to link their economies, to invest in their workers, to move forward, not turn back. And I emphasized to Tony that Canada is once again building big at home and creating reliable partnerships abroad, including very much with ASEAN. So Tony, thank you. Thank you for the trust you're placing in Canadian workers, in Quebec, in Mirabel. You're choosing the best at exactly the right time. And thank you for recognizing, as you did in your words, the Canadian entrepreneurs and risk takers, including Pierre Baudouin, who created the C-Series, the predecessor, that terrible plane, apparently, transformed immediately, overnight. The C-Series, the predecessor of the A220. And thank you, above all, to the workers and builders at Airbus that are now making it happen. Merci à vous, Lars, merci à vous, Guillaume, et l'équipe d'Airbus pour votre leadership. Par-dessus tout, merci aux travailleurs et travailleurs d'ici à Mirabel et de tout le Canada qui bâtissent l'excellence de notre pays dans le secteur de l'aviation. Le Canada a toujours été un pays de bâtisseurs. Dans le passé, par exemple, en février 1909, un jeune ingénieur au nom de J.A.D. McCurdy décolla depuis la banquise de lac Bras-d'Or. Ce fut le premier vol motorisé de l'histoire du Canada et le premier de tout l'Empire britannique. McCurdy était un bâtisseur et un homme audacieux. Il a consacré à des projets que d'autres jugeaient impossibles, notamment la première traversée aérienne entre la Floride et Cuba. En 1928, McCurdy quitte les exploits aériens pour bâtir cette industrie. Il s'installe à Montréal, fonde Reed Aircraft, l'un des tout premiers grands constructeurs aéronautiques du Québec. Le site qu'il a développé est devenu Canada, puis Bombardier, la ligne même qui nous a donné la série C, devenue aujourd'hui la 220 que nous célébrons. Aujourd'hui, cette industrie aérospatiale regroupe plus de 60 000 travailleurs et génère environ 15 milliards de dollars par année pour notre économie. Et cette même conviction que l'ambition et la détermination peuvent changer le cours d'un pays est celle que nous mobilisons aujourd'hui. So today, consistent with the conversation we had those few months ago, amidst this global turmoil, Canada, Quebec, we're focused on what we can control. We're building our strength at home. We're diversifying our trade with reliable partners abroad. We're catalyzing across Canada $1 trillion in total investment over the next 5 years across clean and conventional energy, trade corridors, critical minerals, AI, aerospace, defense, and beyond. We're helping to transform and train our workforce, including through last week's announcement of a $6 billion investment in Team Canada Strong to recruit, to train, to hire over 100,000 new skilled trades workers in the next 5 years. Et lundi, nous soutenons également, grâce à Madame la ministre de l'Industrie, nous soutenons également les travailleurs, les entreprises touchées par les droits de droits américains injustifiés. Nous avons lancé un nouveau programme de financement d'1 milliard de dollars destiné au secteur de l'acier, de l'aluminium et du cuivre, ainsi qu'une réponse régionale de 500 millions de dollars couvrant tous les secteurs de l'économie, dont 105 millions de dollars pour le Québec. We're creating new opportunities for Canadian businesses through more than 20 economic and security partnerships that we've signed on 5 continents in less than a year. We're working towards concluding comprehensive free trade agreements with India, with Thailand, the Philippines, Mercosur, and above all, ASEAN this year. Foreign direct investment into Canada is already at its highest level in nearly 2 decades. It's running at twice the rate on a per capita basis as our nearest G7 competitor. And we're just getting started. Just like you. Just like Tony. Et partout dans le monde, nos partenaires voient ce que le Canada est en train de bâtir, ainsi que la certitude et la stabilité que nous pouvons offrir. Les entreprises choisissent le Canada parce que nous avons ce que le monde recherche. Le Québec a ce que le monde recherche. Et ici à Mirabel, les travailleurs et les innovateurs construisent ce que le monde recherche. Je suis très heureux, tellement heureux, car Air Asia procédera avec la plus importante commande d'avions canadiens de l'histoire. De l'histoire. Et je suis tellement heureux que ces appareils seront construits exactement ici. Cet accord, comme Lance l'a mentionné, cet accord marque un tournant pour l'industrie aérospatiale québécoise, dynamique et de calibre mondial. Pour des milliers d'ingénieurs, d'électriciens, de soudeurs et de spécialistes en technologie de l'information, cela représente des emplois bien rémunérés et stimulants. Est une occasion de construire un avion de classe mondiale qui reliera de millions de personnes à plus d'occasions, à plus de destinations, à plus de moments avec leurs proches. The A220-300 is a showcase of Canadian ingenuity. Lower fuel consumption, reduced emissions, smaller noise footprint, advanced propulsion system, lightweight materials, cutting-edge aerodynamics, built, and you said, Lars, as everyone here knows, with the clean sheet design. I know that it was built with a clean sheet design. I have no idea what that means, but it says that right there. I have an idea. I do have an idea. I don't really know. Developed by scratch by Canadian workers. For de plus de 5000 travailleuses et travailleurs hautement qualifiés, le Canada accueille le 16 le plus important de programmes A220 d'Airbus à l'extérieur de l'Europe. C'est un succès retentissant. You know, since 2016, Airbus's Canadian workforce has more than doubled. You've harnessed world-class Canadian talent across engineering, computer science, aeronautics, and including through deep collaborations with our institutions, including McGill, University of Waterloo, many others. This facility, this Mirabel facility, is a cornerstone of that success, combining engineering, advanced research, administration, final assembly in one integrated operation. But it's also important to recognize that behind every aircraft assembled here is a broader network of suppliers, builders, technicians, innovators across the country. Steel workers, fulfilling new orders with the certainty of a stable paycheck. Engineering graduates, knowing they have the first opportunity to apply their skills. Students, knowing they should go into engineering to be part of this industry. Mechanics, who transform blueprints into the industrial marvels we see on the floor. All working together to deliver world-class aircraft. In the end, as at the beginning, it's the entrepreneurs who imagine, the workers who build, and the governments, including very much the government of Quebec, the governments who back them. That's how Canada and Quebec win. That is what the world is choosing today. Et c'est comment nous construisons une économie plus forte, plus indépendante et plus résiliente. Un Mirabel fort, un Québec fort, un Canada fort, au bénéfice de tous. Merci beaucoup. Congratulations to you both.